This is professional wrestling savior, the JT Dunn. And if you're looking for premier podcasting, look no further than right here on the Maine Event Podcast.
We're gonna talk about wrestling from today in the past. Johnny and Harmon are the Maine Event Podcast. It's gonna be live.
My man, Big Bad Harmon, what's happening?
It's another week, another day in the life of a wrestling podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Great guest on this week. I've been very excited about this one.
Yeah. This is a guy we've been wanting to have on for a long time, but we weren't really comfortable in our own skin yet to ask.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I was thinking of that too, like how to really describe why we haven't had him on. But yeah, so we welcome onto the show JT Dunn today, and it's pretty cool, man. It's a good conversation. Again, man, I like what you said too. I think you made a post about it, like after we did this interview, about like kind of like our style and about like how we're just laid back, and it's like it's much more of a conversation. It's not like question after question, like interview answer. It's fun,
right.
You know. We've gotten to know a lot of these guys now. I mean, we know JT a little bit. Just from seeing him at shows and like talking to him and stuff, and being a little involved. And so it's nice to kind of go in there, a little fresh and a little, in the know. So it's cool. And yeah, definitely JT Dunn's one of those guys, man. I think since we started this podcast that I know I've had on my radar, and I'm like, man, we got to get him on at some point. So
yeah, it's taken, a year and a half for us to get to this, I wouldn't say comfort level, but to the level where we feel confident enough to approach some of these guys who've got, bigger names and maybe that didn't approach us at first. Because a lot of the guys we interviewed at first were guys that, would come up and talk to us and, were over the top friendly.
For sure.
Not that JT's not over the top friendly. He's a wicked nice guy. It's just that we didn't have occasion to be chatting with him.
Right. Yeah. So it's really great, man. It's a good conversation. Talk about like his kind of start, a little bit of his life before wrestling, kind of coming into it, his comfort level, I guess now, like kind of where he's at, his plans for the future. We take some questions from friends of ours. I know Gregulator, Dave, they had some questions that they wanted answered, and JT was nice enough to do so. So, yeah, it's kind of like, the cliche questions, favorite injury, least favorite injury, favorite opponent, stuff like that. So yeah, good conversation. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to playing it for you guys. So we will do that very shortly, right after these quick plugs. I promise you they will be quick. So listeners, you guys can follow us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Maine Event Pod. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. Those are the places you can listen to the podcast. We've got the hotline 929-260-3099. Feel free to use that. Leave us a voicemail. It works via text as well. If you guys want to shoot us a text, we'll read it on the air. And Teespring store, we've got merch for sale. We've got stuff, t-shirts, hoodies, still some great prices on those bad boys. So get them while you can. We should be doing some kind of summer, line, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it a line, but some kind of revamping too.
We'll put tank tops back out
for this season. Yeah, that's essentially it. Tank tops. So we might be throwing some tanks back up there, but yeah, so go there. That's pinned to the top of our Twitter and Facebook. So, and then speaking of merch, strongstylebrand.com/main event pod. Use code main event pod at checkout. You're going to get yourself 10% off. They are very limited on those shorts, I believe. Very, very limited on the shorts. There's not very many left. So if you like the looks of those shorts, which you should because they look awesome. Get them while you can. They will be gone soon. And again, use code Maine Event Pod. It's going to get you 10% off your purchase, and a little bit of that gets thrown our way. So it's a great way to support your favorite podcast, which should be this podcast. So
that's us. Yes, we're your favorite podcast.
And if it's not your favorite podcast, then you should probably like the Limitless Wrestling podcast. That should be your go-to. So if you're not into us, but no, I wanted to give them a special shout out. They've been shouting us out, and so returning the favor a little bit. Those guys are great. They just had Troy Nelson on, who we've had on before. It's a great episode. So check that out. Limitless Wrestling Podcast. They're on iTunes, Podbean, a lot of the same places we are out on. So check those guys out for sure. And that's it. Those are the quick plugs, man. Harmon, anything before we dive into JT Dunn?
Yes, some congratulations are in order. Martin Stone, also known as Danny Burch of the WWE, has now signed a contract and has already made a big splash. He was just on NXT on Wednesday night with Oni Lorcan there, the Brit AM connection. They were helping out Pete Dunne. So congratulations to Martin Stone.
Absolutely.
He said in our interview the goal was to be signed full time, and boom, it happened. We're a good luck charm. I don't know if anybody knows that.
We really are. I mean, not trying to toot our own horns, but we really are. Good things happen when you come on our show.
You come on our show, tell us what your hopes and dreams are, and the universe listens.
It's true. It's very true.
Ask Josh Briggs.
Josh Briggs worked for Briggs.
Yep.
He said, "Hey, you said, hey, what's your dream match?" And he said, Donovan Dijak. What, less than a month later? Donovan Dijak? Boom.
Yeah, well, it was a little while later, but he also said he wanted to have a match with Malonis, had a match with Malonis, wanted to go to Canada. He's been to Canada wrestling for Ethan Page. Yeah. Everything that he said on our podcast, he has done now pretty much.
Yeah. I would like to say all thanks to us. No, I'm just kidding. No, right. Briggs is the best. Yeah. Amazing. So
Briggs didn't have to do a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But what else? Anything else?
No, we're good. Let's get to this interview.
So eager. All right, let's do this. Guys, here it is. JT Dunn. All right, so we are talking to professional wrestling savior, JT Dunn. JT, thanks for coming on tonight, man.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like I said, we've Harmon and I have kind of delved into the indie wrestling scene really locally, probably only the last couple of years, and you've kind of been one of the guys that's really stood out to us. And when we started this podcast, we're like, man, we got to get JT on at some point. So, yeah. So
how could you not stand out? I mean,
for real.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So we love what you do. I'm thrilled that you're on the show. And I just wanted to start out kind of from the beginning, man. Where did you first see pro wrestling?
You know what? I don't really know what my first instinct of seeing pro wrestling was. I wasn't really a wrestling fan growing up. I was more into football. That was kind of my forte. People in my family were big wrestling fans. My sister, my younger brother, they were really into it. So I kind of just have glimpses of things and guys that I liked right off the bat, aside from not liking wrestling. I've always enjoyed X-Pac. I've always enjoyed the Macho Man. Randy Savage is probably my all-time favorite. I have like a very distant memory of watching the 1, 2, 3 Kid Moonsault with my uncle. I don't really think my brain processed what it was, but I remember later on in life where I saw it and I understood what it was as X-Pac doing Moonsault on Razor Ramon. I think my brain kind of connected to that early memory, and I'm like, oh shit, I remember this. Like this was a thing. So that was pretty cool. But that's probably like my earliest memories. Like I really didn't start getting into it or being a fan until I was like 14, maybe even 14, 15.
Yeah. So you're doing football. You're playing.
Yeah, I wanted to be a football player.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool, man. I also played football. I was about a 120-pound cornerback, which got my.
Hey man,
I got my.
Dude, that sounds like me.
Yeah,
I was a free safety and a wide receiver, man. 120 pounds. I was fast as hell, though.
Nice. I will say, my one claim to fame was like intercepting a guy who eventually went to be like the backup QB for like the Texans, and that was like my one claim to fame. I was like,
Hell yeah.
I'll hang my hat on
Claim to
that.
fame was breaking your leg in a playoff game.
Well, I did do that too, but thanks for bringing that up, Jerry.
Hey man, 2 claims.
Yeah, 2 claims. So that's awesome, man. So you're playing football.
Side note, I won the 50-50 during that game. So
Harmon was Harmon was a rich man. Not so much. You should have paid for my medical bills. Jeez, man.
No. My Pontiac Bonneville got a new car stereo. Is what happened.
Oh man. So you're playing football, and then so when does pro wrestling kind of come into your life? You're not like so much into it, but you're doing it now. So somewhere along the line, something was intriguing about it. When did that happen?
Yeah, I don't even know what it is, and I still don't think I understand what the allure was that brought me into loving pro wrestling. But sorry, my cat's acting weird over here. I lost my train of thought. It's just like bouncing off of stuff. But I remember, like, I haven't early memories of seeing Hero and CM Punk, like a VHS, because I ended up befriending this kid named Matt. We played football together. He was like a super wrestling fan. So he would always like show me things, and I didn't really know what they were. I didn't know what independent wrestling was. Like, I didn't know anything. I just knew the WWF and the WCW, and I knew that vaguely. So he was showing me all this stuff that was so different, and it just looked like regular people. And then I remember seeing matches of Paul London, and I don't even know like what it was at first, but I was just captivated by like this little dude getting his ass kicked, but then somehow he's able to get up and he's like a ninja. And I'm like, my brain just couldn't comprehend what the hell pro wrestling was. And I think that's why like now I still do it, is because like, I guess I understand it enough that this is my job, but there's so much more I want to learn and so many other aspects. Like, I've been intrigued the same way as I was at 15 as I am right now at 28. I think like my love for wrestling has only grown bigger and bigger each year. And the more that I find different levels of success in it, because it's opening all these doors. And I'm like, oh man, that's why I loved Paul. Like, oh damn, that's why Hero and Punk were so cool. Because now I'm getting to relive those things and have those experiences, and it's pretty surreal for it being something that I really, in the beginning of my life, I could have tossed away and I would have been perfectly fine without it. But now it's my entire life.
That's awesome. And when did your life kind of change of that viewing? So were you ever at a point where you were like, I'm an aspiring pro wrestler? Do you consider yourself like, I'm a pro wrestler. This is what I do. This is me. This is my thing.
Yeah, it took me a while. I would say probably like 2012. I started gaining that confidence, and at that point, I was already like 4 years into wrestling, or like I put that in quotes, 4 years. Like I don't think it was the most respectable stuff, but I was trying to do whatever I thought was, because I came into wrestling blind. Like, I didn't have reputable trainers right off the bat. I didn't know wrestling schools. I just was like, yo, here's a ring. I'm going to go do wrestling. Like, I'm just going to go make mistakes and learn, because
right.
I'm a perfectionist. I'm an egomaniac when it comes to competition or sports. Like, if there's something I can be perfect at, or I think that I can, I'm going to drive myself wild and drive myself crazy trying to reach that level of success or that level of perfection. And that's what it is with me with pro wrestling.
Now, how did you get your training? How did you get your start in training?
Eventually, I found people in a promotion here that used to run. It was called PWF Northeast. They were kind of like an upper level regional area, a regional promotion, I should say. And I had a buddy in there who took a chance on me. Well, I should say buddy now. He still wrestles. His name is Triplicious, Trigger the OG. He was. He saw me early on at these really bad shows, and he told another buddy of mine now, Rich Bass, who was one of the owners of PWF, like, hey man, you got to get this kid out of the slumps. Like, I know he's got a shit mouth and he's got a horrible reputation, but he's got something. I still don't know what he saw. Like, that was a real big chance on me, because I was not a good person at that time, and they brought me to PWF, and and I saw wrestling there, and I'm like, oh man, this is actual wrestling. Like, holy shit, it gets better. Like, okay, what's after this? So that kind of motivated me to about 2013 when my first big matches started popping in for like some local spots. And then when Beyond went to Fet Music, I started getting a lot of opportunities there. So I would say probably about 2013, that's when I realized, like, okay, I don't need another job. I can just be a pro wrestler. Like, I can invest all my time into this. And at that point, I started training in 2007. So I'm already a bunch of years in, and I didn't really have any confidence until about 5 years in.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So being a smaller guy, like you mentioned, you know, taking a liking to like Paul London and Punk, like kind of being like a smaller guy, like not being that typical WWE pro wrestler build that I think we all kind of grew up seeing. Does that kind of motivate you too? Does that like put a chip on your shoulder to kind of prove people wrong, or just like to overcome stuff like size wise?
Yeah, I guess to a degree. I understand in wrestling that size is such like an important denominator, but in my real world and reality, like size makes no difference. Like I don't see size. I guess in my brain, I feel like everybody's just equal. We're human. Like nobody's tougher than me, nobody's stronger than me until I'm in an instance where I find out for myself, which I try to avoid. But like even in football, like I was a free safety, so I guess early on, my brain was just convinced that I don't care who's coming through the hole. Like I'm going to put shoulders on that guy and I'm going to take him down. And that carried over into wrestling. That's why I don't really prefer wrestling guys my size. I want a bigger fight. I mean, for those who have seen me live in person, like I'm going to beat the fuck out of somebody in the ring. Like that's not like a joke. That's not, like, I'm going to fuck that dude up because I expect it in return. That's competition. That's why I love wrestling, is because I can beat the shit out of somebody for 12 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes. At the end, one of us is going to win, one of us is going to lose, and I either respect you or I don't. And I guess I just anticipate everybody bringing the fight. And I know the big guys bring it in wrestling, so I'm always trying to fight the Keith Lees and the Jeff Cobbs.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Stay out of those ceiling tiles,
you
man.
wrestle more of a big guy style, though.
I'm sorry?
You wrestle more of a big guy style, though, compared to other guys in their, 185, 190 pounds.
Early on in my career, I feel like I made those mistakes. I was little, and I let people brand me and tell me what I had to be, and I had to learn how to do all these flips and this lucha stuff, which was cool because now definitely that stuff has made me a better wrestler for the style that I prefer. But early on, I put so much wear and tear on my body, and they were for companies and matches that are like irrelevant now. And once I crossed over into what wrestling really was, so I just wasted a lot of my body and a lot of my reps on nothing.
I can't
and
remember
just getting hurt.
I can't remember a time where I saw you do a moonsault or something.
You know what? I would say probably about like a year and a half ago, I started doing them again. And it just like, I just got to the back. I'm like, why? Like, like, what the hell am I doing? Like, my body hurts way more because I wrestle a very aggressive style, and I like striking. I think that's my bread and butter, and I love getting hit because it just is real for me. But doing all that, absorbing all that damage that I do, especially because I am a smaller guy, 9 out of 10 times I'm the one getting thrown around the building. Like, why would I do a moonsault on top of that? Why would I add that bump into my life, that fall? Like, especially because I like doing it from the apron to the floor.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Yeah, I've already stopped.
Yeah,
I've already stopped.
Yeah, and
every time somebody does something on the outside to the floor and there's no pad, I get like a twinge in my spine. Like, don't stop doing that.
Yeah, because it sucks.
Yeah, I brought a friend who is not into pro wrestling that much, but he was like looking for something to do like on a Friday night, and I was like, oh, you should come to this Limitless show with me, and it was one at the Portland Club, and you and I think AG were fighting like outside the ring, and he was just he was just like, they do that like outside the ring, like on the floor?
Think I suplexed him on the floor too.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, they do that. So
that was a bad decision.
Yeah,
that hurt so bad. That floor was like the hardest concrete ever underneath that rug.
And stay out of those ceiling tiles too, man.
Hey man, I'm trying.
Do it. My goodness, jeez, Keith Lee. So
that's
big.
like that's like the fourth ceiling I've broken in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Oh my God. I'm sure.
Hey man, perks of being the little guy. I get to fly every once in a while.
I'm sure establishments love that, by the way. Like, oh, well, JT Dunn's coming to town. Let's order some more ceiling tiles.
Luckily, my rep isn't that bad yet, so hopefully the buildings don't catch wind.
Right. Keep it on the DL.
Yeah, don't listen to this podcast, building owners.
Yeah.
If you're listening, stop it.
Yep, stop it.
Yeah.
Pause it right now. Hit that 15-second button. So I want to talk strong style brand a little bit. I know.
Let's talk it.
Let's talk it. So
Talk a little Frankie.
Yeah, man.
Frankie's
The
man.
mad scientist.
Yeah. We can start Frankie. Yeah, dude, I've heard that and I definitely agree with this. He's like one of the hardest working dudes, like, that's like outside the ring. Like, he's doing the videography. He's doing the strong style stuff. I mean, he's everywhere. He's always getting involved. My wife bought me some strong style stuff for like Christmas and was like emailing him about like when it was going to arrive, and he's like super responsive. I mean, the guy's out everywhere. What's the relationship like with him and your involvement with strong style brand? You're kind of like the poster boy there with strong style brand. So give me the strong style brand rundown with you.
Yeah, man. Contrary to popular belief, it's not mine. It's Frankie's. It's everything about it is his brainchild. He is a freaking genius. He had an idea about coming from like the band scene, mixing in a clothing line with wrestling and just having this whole new vision, because that was the original plan for it. It really wasn't the videos or anything like that. That just kind of became like a bonus. But he had this idea and he really wanted to link into wrestling, and we had connected through the XWA when he was working there. So it was kind of like a perfect fit because we're both from Providence. We both are super into giving back to the community and working within our own like mom and pop shops and things like that. Anything we can keep local. So it was cool. Like, here's a Providence wrestler and a Providence, I don't even know what I would call him, visionary now, making this work. So he just kind of wanted to put our brands together and see if we can push it into the wrestling scene. Never did I think it would ever turn into what it is now, to be working with so many different people and to see him, like you said, all over the place. Now he's got the videography side to the strong style brand, which from the first video he ever created to the most recent ones, being like a self-taught individual going through that process, it's the most incredible journey to watch him do these videos and these graphics and these posters and edit all these things for these promotions, just to watch all these different ideas come out of the same human. I mean, it's really crazy. If people only knew how many different elements he was involved in the work that he pumps out on a weekly basis, on top of running the brand, the website itself, on top of doing all the things that I know he does for me personally. Dude, he's crazy, man. I don't know how he does it. And he's successful at it. Very successful.
Who's he filmed for? Chaotic? What?
Yeah, he does Chaotic. He does the live Prov. He ventures out with me when I go on the road and I'm local. He's doing a lot of not only the video work, but he's doing a lot of like the posters, the match graphics. He does a lot of that stuff. So like he doesn't ever have free time.
Yeah, and then like on top of all that, he's just a good human being. I remember like our first dabble, our first venture into like doing commentary. We had no idea what we were doing, and Frankie's just kind of like lingering around. He's like, "Oh, you guys should sit over here." And like he just like, we didn't really know anybody, and he's just like kind of took us under and was like, "Oh, just set up over here. That's totally cool to do." And I was like, "Cool, man." I had no idea who he was. We met him that night, and it was awesome. Just a good dude. So,
hell yeah.
And then like the rest of the crew, man, you guys have kind of assembled, man, kind of a dream team of guys. You got yourself, obviously, being kind of like the well-rounded
face of the brand.
Face of the brand, and then you got the two behemoths and Briggs and AC Baby. You get MJF, who's just like on all the time.
Loudmouth shithead.
Yeah, just all the time. I feel like that guy, like, I was telling Harmon recently, I'm like, I feel like this guy never breaks character. He's like such
It's not
dick.
a character.
He's just such
He's a dick.
He's just an asshole, right?
I hope he listens to this, and I hope he cries about it.
I hope so
At
too.
the last Limitless show, he was like staring down Johnny, like trying to get Johnny to flinch or something. I don't know.
I'm just getting a goddamn haircut. I'm just getting a haircut. And he's asking me like when I'm gonna be done. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not cutting my hair. This guy is. Bradford is. So and then you got Martin Stone, the crafty vet, with the NXT ties there. The great addition. So yeah, man, very cool cast of characters. What's that like, kind of surrounding yourself with these guys?
It's awesome. I love it because I'm a very passionate person. Anything that I feel like I'm putting my name or I'm investing my brand into, I want to make sure that I'm surrounded by people who are going to do the same thing. They're going to go 100%. They're going to put everything into it. Because if I would have only put half in and Frankie would have only put half in the beginning, we wouldn't have made it this far. Well, we were just two guys we were all in on Strong Style brand from day one. And to have people that are a part of it, Briggs, Romero, Martin, Callahan, Dave Christ, Desmond, like Britt Baker, now we have Tessa Blanchard. Like, I think it's incredible to see that so many of my other friends can be so passionate. And it motivates me to want to push the brand further, because I didn't think that we would have such a worldwide family like we do now. Now it's like, okay, what's next? What else can we accomplish? Like, there's no limitations on it, and I think that's really cool for something that is involved with clothing and wrestling. And it's interesting to see how many imitators have popped up since Strong Style brand has really taken off. And I mean, there's definitely the ones that have been around that are maybe just starting to get the notoriety now because that genre is cool. But Frankie has really transcended making a wrestling clothing line with like the sponsorships that are real, and you're not just getting a sticker to hold up with a freaking T-shirt you got 10% off of. Like, he's investing in you because he wants you to invest in yourself, which at the end of the day just pushes the Strong Style brand even further. And like, I carry that flag of the ring with me now every match because it just for me it's just so symbolic. It's more than a brand. It's a family. It's me coming to the ring with a bunch of people who have my back because we all are represented by that flag. And that might be a little too deep, but that's how personal I take it.
As a guy who's shilled the stuff at shows for Frankie, guys will come up and be like, "Oh yeah, I've got that one, I've got that hat, I've got that shirt."
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
cool.
that.
And then you got some of the guys are coming up and like I remember like Tremont came over and was like, "Hey, you got that pin?" I'm like, yeah, man. Like, here, have a pin. He's like, oh, just like, I can have it? I'm like, yeah, just take it, Matt. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. And I was like, yes, of course you can have it. You're main eventing tonight. Of course you can have a Strong Style pin. I mean, the boys love it.
Yeah.
It's great, man.
Like,
so cool.
Dan Moff came up once and he's like, hey, I ordered this shirt back in February. And I'm like, listen, you're going to want to talk to the Pencil Neck Geek.
Yeah, I was like, I want no part of Dan Moff.
No part of this. Right? I ordered one too. He's like, nice. Frankie's like, next time, just give Dan whatever he wants. I'm like, okay, no problem, man.
If he would have came up to me, he would have got all the free shirts and my wallet.
So then the next time he's like, hey, next time I was at Waddy, Dan was like, hey, what's going on, man? I was like, this is awesome. I love this. And that's just like, I saw Frankie was running the camera for that show. I'm like, who's going to be selling your gear? He's like, nobody. I'm like, I'll come down and do it. He's like, oh my God, thank you.
Harmon's always helping out. What a nice guy you are.
That's me.
So I wanted to talk Relentless.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I enjoy it personally. I think it's a great YouTube series. Kind of follows you around. Tell me what the creative process was like with that. Did it start out just a thing to kind of another form of self-promotion, or was there a deeper meaning to this, or what's going on with it?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, we only planned it out to do the season 1. That was our only thing. Frankie was just starting to indulge in the video editing, and I had been getting I don't want to say a lot, but a decent amount of offers from like the video subscriber places, and they just wanted to tell my story. I'm very sensitive about what I'm about and what my life's about. And I just wanted to make sure it was going to be told in a very tasteful way, in a way that is more me. Like, I don't want my life on a DVD for sale. Like, that's just not me. Like, just give them my life. It's like, I've already lived it. I've already experienced it. I don't want people to have to like pay to learn about me. That's a stupid process. Like, information is free. That's what makes it so valuable. So I told Frankie, like, my career in New England started, doing my own videos on YouTube, so to get my own buzz, because nobody else was doing it. And I thought it was cool. Like, I'm just going to do that. Like, now that I'm a grown up, like, just film it, let's edit it, and let's just put it on YouTube for free and just promote it and let these people enjoy it, or let them hate it. Like, because I don't care. Like, I'm just going to tell my story. And I trusted Frankie's vision. I think that being from Rhode Island and being from the Providence area is a very special thing for me. So I knew that he could capture whatever essence I was looking for properly. And I trusted him. And I felt like if I can open up to him and be comfortable around him, that's only going to make Relentless even better. If I'm being filmed by somebody that I enjoy being filmed by or being around, and not some weirdo who's just trying to flip me for $500 or something. Like, it was just smoother being with a friend. So the goal was, I was having the biggest match of my career, XWA, myself versus AJ Styles. So we wanted to kind of get together the week leading in. I was living in Philadelphia at the time. I came back to Providence for the week of the event, and Frankie and I just kind of got together every day and went through my life, went to my old neighborhoods for the first time in probably like 10 years. I went to go see just everything, and we sat down and I just kind of told my story, talked about my journey, talked about my battle with addiction and my sobriety and recovery since, and how wrestling impacted my life. So it was really cool to be able to do it, and then for it to be so well received that we actually did a season 2. Which now it was kind of like Relentless on the road. So it was cool to just take my story and showcase it and to show my value, I guess, in all the promotions that I work for, as opposed to just, oh, hey, JT's on the show, he's having a match. Now you get to see the behind the scenes, my interactions with other wrestlers, guys that people had no clue that I was friends with or that I got along with, because I feel like that's such an important part of my life, is the people I surround myself with. Like, if you see me associated with somebody, there's a reason that person is a good person, and they've helped my life in some way, and I'm forever grateful for my friends, and I'm happy that Frankie has been able to tell my story. And I'm excited because it's not over. We're continuously filming. He actually just tweeted out, unbeknownst to me, that he has a new episode coming out. It's going to be about my journey through chaotic wrestling, which is very special to me. And it's going to be my 2-year journey up to becoming the heavyweight champion. So that one will be real emotional. I'll probably cry.
Yeah, that's very cool though, man. That's awesome to have that, in the archives, somewhere. Someday you're gonna look back and be like, man, I'm really glad that we did that. It's
absolutely awesome. Because I guess at first my goal wasn't always a $1 million success in getting to the WWE. I think that now that's becoming more of a reality for me. But I always thought of the Relentless thing as like, okay, even if wrestling ended for me at the end of this, I still have this to look back at. Look at all the people I've impacted. Look at all the memories I've created. And through my sobriety, like, now it's like, look at all the memories I can actually remember. Look at the things that I actually did. Like, nobody can take those moments away from me. The last 5 years for me in pro wrestling and in my life combined, I preach beating addiction a lot, and I never want it to come off as overkill, but it's the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. The last 5 years have been not perfect, but perfect for me because I can't remember the 15 before him.
Yeah. I think the good part about the Relentless thing is too, is that it's real. It's not put on or anything.
Yeah, just
wrestling
me.
is all about characters and going over the top and stuff like that. But the Relentless stuff is real. You get to see, interacting with the guys backstage and the refs and stuff like that. I think one of the funniest ones was from the Locker Mess Limitless show.
Oh, yeah.
It was a short one. It was just you guys. It was you and Briggs and Paige was there.
Paige and Ace.
Was there. And AC was talking carny to the carnies.
Yo, because he was from there. It was nuts.
Yeah.
I've never, I've never walked through a fair before in any state in my life where the carnies that work there stop and they go, "Hey, we know you," and they just all know Ace Ramiro.
Frenchie's a ref, for Christ's sake.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Ace, is this your family? Like, what the hell? It was so crazy because for me, I'm in fucking bumblefuck Maine. I don't even know where I'm at. And we're walking around with Ace, and he just starts hosting this like seminar with all the carnies.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh, Ace. Goodness gracious. You mentioned Providence. It's obviously where you're from. I get the sense that you're proud to be from Providence, and that's
I'm very proud,
and that means a lot to you. I feel like that's. Can you speak to that a little bit about just being from there and kind of staying there a little bit and kind of putting that city kind of on your shoulders a little bit when it comes to pro wrestling, because it's really become like this hotbed. I mean, the Northeast. Well, I mean, like the Northeast in general is.
No, you're right.
This hotbed, but I mean, like Providence is like taking off, man. I mean, you know what, obviously, and then like we've been down for like live Prov shows. Those are so fun. It's just like
I've been down for the what shows, and I know how much you love FET as a venue. You know, I've seen the pre-match, you know, pep talk and.
But
being from Providence is like, I mean, I guess it's the same for anybody when they're just proud of where they come from. Obviously, there's a lot of things in Providence I'm not proud of, but I can't fight crime, so I can't prevent those things. But I'm very proud of the culture here. I'm very proud of the people, how understanding they are of each other. I'm just happy that people are accepted. I grew up on the poor side. I was homeless, and I actually lived on the streets of Providence. So like I feel just in touch with my city, and the worst things in my life happened, but in a way, I'm so happy that they did, because I just want to give back. And I think that my whole life has led me to just find something to be passionate about. And I just was misguided, and I went in so many different ways, and that led me to addiction, that led me to drinking and drugs and just being stupid. But that also led me to the friends that I have now, and it led me to realize that my life is the most important thing, and my life began here in Providence, and everything about this place is just it's just beautiful. The city itself is beautiful. The people here are just incredible. There's a lot of shitheads, but the people here, for the most part, are incredible.
There's shitheads everywhere, man.
and now I remember, I would probably say it has to be at least 4 or 5 years ago. I've been on multiple podcasts. I've probably put it on Twitter or whatever. And I said, soon I'm going to make Northeast the hotbed for independent wrestling everywhere in the world. Like, everybody's going to want to leave their town, and they're going to want to come to Providence, Rhode Island in the Northeast, because it's the best fucking place. And here we are in 2018. And it's the best place to wrestle. This area has the greatest promotions. It has the hardest working students in these schools. And just like, it's awesome, because I feel heavily responsible for that. Our area got wiped out with all of the guys that were the top talent, and we were kind of left dry for a while. And that just happened to be the time where I got my shit together and realized I wanted to be a pro wrestler. So once Providence took off in like 2013, I was just like, I'm never letting this flame die, and we're going to do whatever we can to keep it alive. So having Wrestling Has a Tomorrow inside of FET, live Prov right down the road in the heart of the city, XWA is not too far away here in West Warwick. Like, it's just so cool to see this small little state have such a big impact on so many people.
Yeah, the shows over at the Chop Shop too. I mean, it's pretty great little area. I know I've traveled down there a few times now to see some different shows.
I love it because it feels worth the area. For a lot of places, it's a distance travel. It's like 3-4 hours for a lot of the wrestling fans that I interact with to get to Providence. But it's very satisfying when they all leave and they don't mind the drive, and they're just like, oh, the people were worth it. The wrestling was worth it. This is a good experience.
Absolutely.
No,
yeah, for sure, man. And well, we thank you, good sir, for doing that.
Listen, it wasn't just me. I will take credit, because it was hard as hell, and I remember what I had to do to keep this place alive. But there was a lot of people motivated with me, man, that helped me. And New England's a better place because of them all.
Yeah. So we're not from there. We are from here. We're from Maine. And Maine had some really hard times with pro wrestling.
Yeah, they did.
And as you know, but as of late, Limitless has been killing it. And you have been a big part of that, man. Let's talk about Limitless for a minute.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man. You've been doing shows with them since they were, up in Orono, tell me like what you think about like their progression's pretty awesome for what they are now. How's that feel to know that you're a part of that and a pretty big reason for that, I think,
Well, thank you very much. I think it's fantastic, man, especially because of what you said. The area had such a bad reputation. To see something like Limitless come through and not only alter that reputation, but just completely disintegrate it and change the entire landscape. I don't think there's really any other promotions that have come into an area so heavily and just completely dominated the market. And I think that the way the shows are run, I think they're a beautiful mix of just people from the area, the local talent, just combined with the best wrestlers in the world. And that's what people want to see. People they're attached to, and the people that they're attached to learning and growing and developing. And obviously there's guys who just haven't made the cut along the way. But I don't know, it's a very motivating locker room. So for a competition-driven person like me, I'm excited every Limitless show because I know there's a badass opponent across the ring for me. Well, like the last couple of times, there's been a few opponents across the ring for me who are just badass, and I just want them to build the ring, man, because as excited as the fans are sitting in the crowd, I'm just as excited when my music hits. And I don't know that, man. That the place has become very special. I definitely prefer the Westbrook venue over Orono. Those drives were miserable for me.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, we live in Maine, and it's still a haul, man.
That was
Maine's
rough.
just such a big state.
What other state besides like Texas or Pennsylvania can you drive 6 hours and still be in the same fucking state?
Yeah, that's a stupid thing. That's a stupid thing.
Yeah, that's.
And it was cool at Limitless too. Like I've been a part of two of the main events that have been the biggest matches in in Limitless history. With myself and Cody being the first one, setting the attendance record in the Westbrook Armory, and like being the biggest show like Maine has ever had on that level. Like I remember somebody hit me up from a newspaper about it, and I thought it was bullshit. I thought they were ribbing me. Like, are you serious? You want to interview me about my match with Cody Rhodes in Westbrook, Maine? Like, what? And then I saw all the publicity went off, and I was like, oh my God, this is really a cool freaking thing. Like I'm a part of this. It's me and Cody Rhodes. Like, and the closer I got to the event, it just got bigger and bigger, and it had such a big fight feel. And we had already had our first singles match like a month before it, so the buzz got even better. So to be a part of that was really cool. And then most recently, the 6-man tag, that was just the insane dream team tag match fuckfest.
It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. Dude,
Does anybody know what Teddy Hart is going to do before he does it? Does Teddy even know what he's going to do before he does it?
I'm going to go with no, you don't know. And I think Teddy probably knows 10% out of 100 of what he's going to do.
I talked to Ethan Page once about it. He said, just tuck your chin and go with it.
Yeah, man. But you know what? That's what makes Teddy Hart so cool. He's one of my favorite guys to wrestle in the world. I remember sitting in referee Tony P's house. He's a really good buddy of mine. We were sitting in his house one night and watching Wrestling Society X. And I'm like, one day I'm going to wrestle Teddy Hart. Like, I think me and Teddy Hart would have the dopest fucking matches together because he's insane and I bump like a maniac. I get thrown around. I take pride in defense, as stupid as that sounds. And then here we are. Now I've wrestled Teddy like 17 times in just the last 3 months. And like the last year has been like 40 times. It's awesome. It's a thrill. It's crazy to see somebody who is so verbally outspoken, but has such an emotional connection with the crowd. Like, it doesn't even matter that he just told you he was in jail. You still love him.
Right.
Like, he's like, yo, I've been in jail for like 7 months and I couldn't wait to get back to Maine. And they're like, yeah, Teddy.
Right.
And I remember looking at Briggs and I'm like, yo, he just told them he was in jail. What the fuck are they cheering for? Like, he's a convict. But like, I love him, but it's so crazy how captivating he is. He walks out, he does his Jericho taunt, and he just hits the ring, and you're just like, yo, it's fucking Teddy Hart. Hell yeah.
And you guys
Look
both
at
love
the thing on that necklace.
Yeah, I love that necklace.
And you guys both love cats. So
And we both love cats, man.
You guys have that
I've met
going,
his
too.
cats. He's met my cat. Like, that's just
Nice.
it. That's how you know you're friends, man. Your cats hang out.
Right. Speaking of friends, we took to some of our friends to ask some questions, and our good buddy who's been on the show a bunch of times, Greg Ulator, he actually wanted to know. He's a huge fan of yours.
Appreciate that.
He wanted to know who your favorite, some of your favorite opponents was. You just mentioned Teddy Hart, but any others that stick out that you really love staring at across the ring?
Oh yeah, AR Fox, 100% AR Fox for sure. That dude, him
I've
and
never heard
I,
anybody
man.
say they didn't like facing.
Oh, I just feel like AR Fox and Martin Stone, like those guys are like my perfect competition because they can do anything in the world, and they know that, but they're also ass kickers. Like, I don't think Fox gets enough credit for how much he kicks ass. Like, he's tough as shit. Like, yeah, he can do all that cool shit, low main pain, low main rain, panda drivers, all that shit. He can do it all. But yo, he can kick your ass.
Yeah, because it looks too nice. It's like it looks beautiful.
Dude,
like he's flying
effortlessly
through the air.
perfect, man.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He's the most graceful guy I've ever been in there with. Like, I mean, I have a wild imagination when it comes to pro wrestling, and there has never been a situation or a conversation I've had with Fox where I'm like, yo, what do you think about this idea? And he never ever said to me, nah, I can't do that. And I, like I said, I have a wild imagination. And if you could tell me you can do some shit, we're going to do some shit. Dude, he's the best. He's the best.
Yeah.
I love wrestling Callahan just because it's such a bell-to-bell sprint of just like fighting. He's
most
wild.
intense guys before the.
Oh, I love it.
Like the first time I saw him at Limitless, I was like, he's legit scary before a match because he's so wound up and tensed up. It's pretty amazing, really. It's like, you can just get that feeling from him, like somebody's gonna get hurt.
And you know it. It's like right as the bell rings, you know, all right, Callahan's in here, shit's about to get real. Like,
Yeah, I've said it before on this podcast that he's like one of the guys that like legit like scares me. Like, people are like, oh, you should get Sammy Callahan on the podcast. I was like, I don't know if I could talk to him. He scares me too much.
Nah, you should. You definitely should.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I enjoy wrestling bigger guys. So wrestling Keith Lee is always fun. We've wrestled a million times now. I always enjoy my matches with Warbeard Hansen too. Before he moved on to NXT, we had a lot of matches over different parts of my career, and it was really cool to just develop with him, who was a person who probably didn't care for me so much when I first started, and then I was his last match before he went to NXT. So that meant a lot to me, and he's definitely a guy that I don't think gets the most appreciation, and he deserves it because he's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they're making quite the splash up there right now, so that's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah!
I was excited to see those guys make that jump. Let's see.
And Trips, man, I can't leave out Trigger. I cannot leave him out. He's probably the person I've wrestled more than anybody else in my life. There's no way we have wrestled any less amount of times than 100. Like, like even just from January 1st until right now, him and I have already wrestled 30 times this year.
Holy shit! Wow, that's nuts, man.
We're killing it at XWA Thursday night throwdowns, man. People got to be there every week. $5 wrestling.
Oh my God, we got to make a trip, Harmon. We got to make a trip. Put it in the calendar.
I say that, and you're like, yeah, but I have, the wife and the kid.
I have a wife and kid, and oh God. Anyway, another one of our buddies, Dave Dyer, has been on the show a bunch of times. Sports writer up here. He wanted to know, So you've had some bumps along the road, like injury wise. What's the most challenging one to come back from? I know you had the leg injury. I think it was at the end of last year. I think.
Yeah, closed out last year.
Yeah. But anything that like sticks out? Like, what's been the most?
You know what? The one that sucked probably because it's been the longest. Right when I was training, I broke my face.
Oof.
I broke the right side of my face, my forehead, my jaw, my orbital bone, my nose. I landed incorrectly on a choke slam from a worsely trained person than me, and I landed on my head, and my knee folded over on me, and it hit me in the eye. So I had to have reconstructive surgery. So now the right side of my face is a titanium plate. So that's been a thrill to have for all these years. But I think recently the torn hamstring that ended out last year was probably the roughest to recover from because I was on a roll last year. It's probably my best year in wrestling. And I don't mean that like I made the most money because I don't give a shit about the money in wrestling because it's not even there. But I just had the best year confidence-wise. I was having the best matches. I was killing it everywhere I went. I was traveling all over the world. I had done everything I wanted to do leading into that, and I just wanted to close out the year because I'm a person who's very much invested in the story of why a match is happening as opposed to just doing a bunch of random shit. I'm an investment person. So I was bummed out that there was several stories, I guess, I didn't get to finish. That I knew I was never going to have the chance to. A lot of matches that I had lined up that I was bummed that people who, and I don't mean this in like to be derogatory or mean, but people that I know I'm better than and didn't work the whole year to earn that match now took my match away from me because I got hurt. So they were now in my position. So that mentally was frustrating. The fact that I just couldn't walk on something so stupid as a super kick to Ace Romero at CZW. That's how I got injured. For those who don't know, and just to be I felt emasculated. Like I couldn't walk up the stairs. I couldn't feed myself because my kitchen's in the upstairs. Like it was just disheveling, and mentally that sucked. But like when I was able to get into PT and I found out I didn't need surgery, there was a little positives that pushed me through. And then honestly, just taking care of my body the last couple of years and just taking care of my mind is what got me through that. Luckily, I didn't need the surgery and the rehabilitation time was a lot quicker. I definitely pushed it faster than I needed to. But like I said, I'm a perfectionist. And once they tell me I can go, I'm going to go. So I came back from that torn hamstring in 2.5 months, and I wrestled to bring the new year, and I wrestled for the XWA, and I actually won the XWA Heavyweight Championship right after the ball dropped.
Boom. Money. Nice. That's good, man. So what's next? What's next for you? You have any goals coming up in the future? Are you staying... Yeah, how's your weight? You staying under 205?
Oh yeah, man. I'm definitely under, but I'm definitely under 205. But again, like I said, I wouldn't mind being over 205. Like whatever it takes to keep me in the ring with the guys that people see as the biggest and the best. Like that's what I want. If I got to put on 30 pounds at fucking 5'9.5", whatever.
Yeah, you'll do it.
I just want the best, man. I think that's what the rest of this year is. Stay injury free, stay healthy, keep a positive mindset, keep a positive impact at all the promotions that I'm currently at, because I feel like I've attained a certain level of respect at all of them. And I mean, you guys get to see it at Limitless quite often. That's just kind of what I want through the rest of the year is just tell everybody in a positive way, just showing them through what I can do in the ring. Like I'm the fucking best. And the last couple of years, I've watched all these other people who I'm a better professional wrestler than, and I'm a better human than, kind of cheat the system to get opportunities. And I've been playing it by the books. And I think that this year is the year for me. My goals have changed. They're bigger now. Now that I feel I can reach different levels, I'm doing it all on my own. I think that was a hindrance for a long time in people's eyes. I was primarily a tag team wrestler for the last or for the 4 years with Juicy Product and Death by Elbow. And I think people were just always assuming the tag team was the hot thing. They weren't giving me the credit I deserved. So last year I wrestled with intentions to prove myself, and the end of the year did not go my way. And I just might have been going too hard. I was probably competing at a level that was just outside of my bounds. But now I feel put together. I changed my style. Now I'm probably the most confident I've ever been in the ring. There used to be like this little nervous butterfly feeling I would have when I was in the ring with people that, I don't know, maybe I thought were better than me. I don't feel that anymore. It's been replaced with like this confidence butterfly where right before the bell rings and I'm looking outside the ring and they're surrounded by people and there's somebody across the ring who I know is really good. Like, I'm just confident because I know that I'm about to put on the best performance I possibly can. So it can't be bad. It can't go wrong. It's gonna be incredible. So having that feeling and actually being able to execute it, and I'm not trying to do it in a malicious way because that's just how I operate now. And I want everybody to get their money's worth.
But you have that chip on your shoulder a little bit from being in those tag teams. I mean, you must have heard people say, you know, it's Chris Hero, you know, it's David Starr, you know. I mean, I
think people will always have their bias, and they'll always be like, one's better than the other, or one helped the other. But my retort to them when I do respond is just check my resume. Like, if you don't believe, I've had more success as a singles wrestler on paper than I have as a tag team wrestler. It's just the tag team stuff was more predominant because it happened all over the world. It happened in Germany, it happened in PWG. It just had more notoriety. But I don't know, man. I love tag team wrestling because of that journey. It's made me a better wrestler now than I ever thought I could be. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change people's perspectives because it's all fueled me. It's all helped motivate me to prove them wrong and prove myself right. And that's what this year is going to be. Just a whole lot of me proving myself right. And I think that's going to venture me to where I want to go. And that's off the independent circuit.
Are you doing, as hot as the New England scene is, are you branching out more? Are you going to go to more?
It sounds really
more maybe Midwest.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to be very selective. I feel like everything I do, I want to have a purpose. I'm not I don't know. I like being local. I like being able to come home after shows. I like being able to take care of my cat, as stupid as that sounds. I just like the traveling thing. I've done it. Not as much as some other people, but my goal was to travel the world, become something so that I can come home and help New England and use whatever notoriety I had to make this area bigger so people don't have to struggle for 10 years like I did. Like the way out will be faster. And it's working because there's already people that were tenured behind me that are already gone. But I know that my time's coming. I'm here for a purpose. If I still feel like there's things that I need to accomplish, then I know that I'm not done. I know that there's more work to be done. And coming off my injury, I've chosen to stay local and to stay in this area just because I didn't want my hamstring to get messed up and I'm nowhere near home. Then I have to take a flight home with a torn hamstring again. I was just easing back into it. So I've done selective things. I wrestle circus. I just went back to LA recently in Florida. So I'm starting to get back out there now that I know that my leg is operating with me. It's not going to give out on me. It feels good. I've tested it. I've tested it hard. So I would say the back end of this year, you'll see me all over the world again.
Nice, man. Cool. Well, we look forward to that, man. And but coming up real soon. What do you get in the works? I know you're taking on Gangrel.
Yeah, man. What the hell?
That came out of nowhere.
Fucking Tremont.
Yeah, he's the first Loki to kick my ass. And fucking Gangrel. We got Gangrel coming up. That's going to be May 13th in Providence, Rhode Island, Fett Music Hall. Wrestling has it tomorrow. That card is absolutely stacked, and it's ridiculous. The more I keep seeing go up, it's That's actually pretty crazy. Headline with AR Fox versus Austin Theory. That's pretty dope.
That's nuts.
Joey Ryan versus Richard Holiday. Brody King and Dan Moff are finally going to fight. I can't wait to watch that. I want the bell to ring, and I just want them to both collide with each other.
Yeah.
Like in my brain, that's just how it's going to happen.
Yep.
Homicide's back, man. Private Party versus Trey Miguel and Myron Reed. Like, those are my boys, so I'm really excited to watch those guys go at it. I mean, this week I'm at Chaotic Wrestling. I'm going to defend the heavyweight championship against Chase Del Monte. I got some stuff with Top Rope Promotions, Limitless Wrestling on the 11th, Portland Street Fight with Retro. Is it Retro or Retrosexual? Has he gotten rid of the sexual still in there?
It must be. Yeah, I think so. we can put it in there. It's fine.
With Anthony Green.
Sexual still in there.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I'm finally returning to House of Hardcore. Dude, this is actually a story I've never told before. So I'll tell it right now, real fast, if you don't mind.
Exclusive.
So a lot of people ask me why I stopped working for House of Hardcore, because when I lived in Philly, I was on all of the shows, and when they were doing the New York and the arena loops. So I got hurt. I cracked my collarbone over time, just wear and tear. And then one day at the gym, it finally just snapped on me, and I needed to just take time off and go have that fixed. So House of Hardcore was getting set to debut in Toronto for that show for the first time. So that week is when I got hurt. So I thought, like, oh, by the weekend, I'll be okay. Like, it's just a pro wrestler mentality. Whatever, I'll tape it up. I'll ice it up. I'll be good by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Friday came and I wasn't good. Hardest thing I've ever had to do was wake up in the morning and call Tommy Dreamer and tell Tommy Dreamer that I couldn't make it to Toronto because I had to go have surgery on my shoulder because I got hurt. It sucked, man. It really sucked. I worked my ass off to get into House of Hardcore because it's a premier place to be. And then have it taken away by something so stupid like an injury. That sucked. And then my schedule never really realigned with House of Hardcore after that. So I come back May 18th. They're here in Hanover, Massachusetts. I'm very excited to return to House of Hardcore. So if you're in the area, come check that out. I think they're going to be streaming live on Twitch, which is the coolest thing in the world. So there's no excuse not to watch it.
Nice. Very cool.
Have you become what you hated so far?
Have I become what I hated?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it at one night after your second hardcore match in a row with.
Oh,
like, that's it. I'm a hardcore guy. Great.
That's it, brother.
I love it.
That's it,
Hate
man. Give it a year. JT Dunn, deathmatch legend. DJ's gonna be real pissed that I quit. Told him he could have made $1 million off of me, and he fucked it up.
Oh, jeez, awesome, man. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what you do this year and in the future, buddy.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to you beating AG down State Street in Portland.
Yeah, man.
yes, definitely.
I don't know what the laws are in Portland. I'm gonna look them up, but if I can use a chainsaw, I'm probably gonna use one.
Yeah, go for it. I'll bring mine.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, man. So, dude, you're an inspiring individual. We both enjoy your work so much. Good luck in the future, buddy. We're gonna be rooting for you, man. So thank you so much.
That. Thank you very much, man. And I wish y'all, man, the best of luck in not only in the podcast but life, man. Whatever you're endeavoring out for, man. Positive thoughts go with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool.
The pro wrestling savior. You just tell the guy he just loves New England, you know.
Loves it.
He wants New England to be the hotbed. He wants to be the leader of that charge, you know, and he's doing a phenomenal job at it.
He called it, man. He called his shot, and then he made it happen. Can we call him the Babe Ruth?
He's the pro wrestling Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he called his shot. He said New England is going to be the hotbed of pro wrestling, and then he made it happen, man. It's great. Yeah, dude, what a fun chat. I enjoyed his cat meowing frequently throughout the whole thing. And that's not a pot shot. That's awesome. I love that. I love that ambiance. It was really good. Just
but
cool,
you know,
just
wherever you are in New England, check him out. You can see him at XWA, you can see him at Chaotic, you can see him at Limitless. You can see him at Beyond sometimes. I mean, he's everywhere. So check him out. And if you're in Texas, you can see him at Wrestle Circus sometimes.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see him at Limitless coming up. I'm excited to see him go against Gangrel. That's gonna be crazy. At what? And it's gonna be cool, man. He's a guy that, I mean, I've said it before on the podcast. I will quote myself. I think JT Dunn is pound for pound the best indie wrestler out there today. He can do it all. You know, he can fly, he can do technical stuff, and then he can just throw down. He can throw kicks, he can throw elbows, obviously. He throw fisticuffs. I mean, it's just, he's the real deal, man. He's so well rounded that it's like it's really hard to not like him. So, you know, if you don't like him, I think there's something wrong with you. So,
yeah, right. So. No, his personality. You know, some guys are great technical wrestlers, and you can see the seeds of a spark, but there's just something missing. And I don't want to name names, but I've seen a couple guys like this. But JT Dunn's got that charisma. He connects with the audience, and people, you either love him or you hate him. But a lot of people love him. So
everybody loves a badass, man. You know, it's just like,
he's a badass.
He's a badass. Everybody loves a badass. So easy to like. So yeah, definitely. We got him on finally, and I'm very excited about it. And I really like how that went. So yeah, definitely check him out.
And I like that we got to talk about Frankie a lot, because Frankie is probably the hardest working non-wrestler in New England.
Frankie's a guy who doesn't get enough credit. He's so behind the scenes. He makes a lot of things happen that people enjoy, but they don't know how they happen. And Frankie is how it happens. So if that's a weird way to explain it, but so that's it, man. What else? What do we got here? Harmon, where are you at on social media?
I'm at Harmon316, and I'm also at Picking a Winner. We're going to announce it next week. We've got a winner for our 2 tickets and the X-Pac or 123 Kid autograph.
Courtesy of that wrestling club. Yeah. We've got a winner
at that wrestling club.
Yep. We do have a winner. We will announce that winner next week. So tune in for that.
That's right. We will play the call.
We will play the winning voicemail of our contest. So definitely keep an ear out for that next week. And let's see. I am at Johnny Fashion on Twitter. And once again, if you would like to subscribe to the show and rate and review and give us all kinds of love on the podcast sphere, wherever you get podcasts from, we are on the following: Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. Those are the places where you can subscribe to us, and we will just be automatically downloaded to your phone every single week. It's that easy, kids. Really that easy. And I want to give a big shout out to our good buddies out in Colorado, Dylan and Sarah. They're in a band called Follow the Fox. That band, they do the intro and outro for this very show. It's that pretty music at the beginning and end every week. So you guys,
I was watching Dylan on Instagram the other day play his ukulele.
Yeah, guy's incredible. Guy's awesome. I think I even said that. I commented. I was like, dude, you're awesome. So you guys should follow them on social media. They're on Facebook and Instagram at Follow the Fox Band. And then they do have a website where you can go and see places where they're playing and their bios and some samples of their music and stuff. Followthefoxband.com. That's their website. And they do all kinds of other fun projects too. They're in a ton of other bands together and like solo and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you ever find your way out in Denver, Colorado, please look them up. Go see a show. They're so awesome and good people. Tell them we sent you. And that's it, man. That's about it. Good show. A lot of hustle on the floor tonight.
Guys really laid it all out there.
Yeah, really, really did. So awesome. Well, Harmon, thank you so much for joining me as always. And listeners at home, thanks for listening. Catch you later.
Bye.
Talking about wrestling from the day in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Maine Event Podcast.
Have you gotten rid of the Juice moniker now?
Yeah, I just feel like in life I just kind of outgrew that. It was cool because it was like my nickname from football. And when I came into wrestling, I really didn't understand like the name thing. So I just called myself the Juice because that was already a nickname for me. But over the last couple of years, I just felt myself develop, and I feel like that was a younger, immature, petty version of me. It was time to grow up. So I just ditched it, got rid of the Juice.
I just thought you were a big Juventud Guerrero fan.
No, didn't even know who the fuck he was at first, man. Not even gonna lie.
That's right, because you didn't watch
No
wrestling
clue.
as a kid.
Yeah, now I have him blocked on Twitter.
Movie?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
He tweeted at me talking shit one day because a fan was just like, because my old Twitter handle was at the Juice, and he got mad about it, and I was just like, yo, fuck you, Hoovy. And then he came back at me, and I was like, sorry, can't see you. You're blocked.
That guy's a maniac. Unbelievable. That's funny.